Welcome back, welcome in. You have found us once again, Shoot the Gap, that rabbit hole fantasy football focus show, here to help you to be gruntled with your fantasy football team and your fantasy football decisions. I am your humble host, Brian the Amigo Baldwin. I'm very happy to be here. I know it's a little late. I know. I was actually shooting a video, a music video, that's going to be out here in a couple, I think in a month or two, a couple months. But yeah, so I actually shot two videos. So it's with my friend Aunt Boogie. So yeah, unfortunately, it made everything go late. Okay, so hopefully you understand everything's cool. All right, so this is now the 133rd show, October 29th. Yeah, right before Halloween. Yeah, this hopeful year of our Lord. And I have a great show for you today. Today I'll be going over Thursday night's game. I'll also be going over some news, have some little bit of Merry Early Christmas, right? And then, of course, absolutely what you're waiting for, the Shooter Ceasefire for Week 8, for the rest of Week 8 games, okay? So got a long way to go, okay? Got a lot to do, so let's get started. All right, want to go ahead and start off, of course, like we always do. I want to make sure and give a nice little thank you to the supporters of the show. All right, so a little bit of Sports Host app and also High Value Music Radio app. Let me go and tell you a little bit about the High Value Music Radio app. Okay, you get incredible music 24/7, but you also get incredible shows like the Monday Mixtape, Rock and Roll Radio, Access Granted. Okay, Chit Chat with Tasha Matt, yeah, Blame It on the Boogie, and of course Drive Time Sports with Charlie and Brian. That's my show. All right, yeah, of course, if it ain't high volume, it ain't loud enough. All right, so let's go and get started. Let's get this show started. Now let's start with the Thursday night football. All right, here we go. So let me just tell you about what I thought about it. All right, and just give you some real quick points. Oh, you've already heard it. I'm sure you've already heard a lot of reviews on it, so I just want to give you my take. So last night, or Thursday night, excuse me, Baltimore Ravens traveled to Florida, all right, to take on the newly divorced Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, of course, we'll go with the obvious, that it seems that we saw a true handcuff for a stud player. All right, we saw one. I mean, there actually is one, right? A bona fide one, right? Something that you put on your roster and you hold on to it because there's whenever the time comes to use it, it's going to really pay off for you. What am I talking about? Of course, the highly unlikely Isaiah Likely, right? It's so with Mark Andrews out, Likely exploded, turning 7 targets into 6 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown. He seemed to be Lamar Jackson's favorite target, or at least what he was looking for. Now, I'm sure Rashad Bateman going out, kind of played a little bit into that. All right, but if you're a Mark Andrews manager, Isaiah Likely is a must add. It's a handcuff. It's like what people preach about the Alexander Madison and Dalvin Cook. It's the same relationship between Likely and Andrews. So yeah, you must have them if you have Mark Andrews. Okay, you have to, because when he's out, Likely gets the same amount of points, or at least that's what it looks like. All right, and Mark Andrews already has a shoulder. That was a shoulder injury that he had, right? They're saying it's not too serious. Let me tell you what I'm seeing. Okay, what I'm seeing is Andrew didn't practice last week due to a knee injury, and he put up a bad game. Okay, but that could have been game script. Okay, so let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. He was a little nicked up, and then also it was a game script situation, right? Okay, so let's just give him that. Okay, but it could be something else, right? So this past week, he practiced, okay, or he didn't practice, excuse me, and then he didn't look right, okay. Before the shoulder injury knocked him out, he didn't look right. I mean, you got to admit, he didn't look like the amazing over the top stud that he was in the beginning of the season, right? So the Ravens, they used him quite a bit at the beginning of the season, so he might be showing some wear and tear. Okay, so he's good to have on your bench. All right, if you're not the Likely or you're not the Andrews manager, go grab him. If you're the Mark Andrews manager, dude, you need him. Okay, you have to have him. You have to. Like I said, Mixon, Perrine. I mean, Pollard, Zeke. Same thing. Herbert, Montgomery. It's the same connection. Likely Andrews. All right, so Gus Edwards. Let's talk a little about Gus Edwards, okay? And this is coming from somebody who's a manager of Gus Edwards. I grabbed him on draft day and just stuck him on my IR. All right, like after the draft, I immediately went and grabbed him, stuck him in my IR. All right, see what happens, right? And whenever he came out, okay, I'm at like last week, he did great, right? 16 touches, all right, 66 yards. Even though it's a lot more, I don't like that many sixes, okay, anything, but I'm just saying, that's what happened. Maybe it was a clue. Because Thursday he had 11 carries for 65 yards and zero TDs, zero targets. All right, can't be happy with them. My league, which is a little juiced, he got 8. It's a PPR, full point PPR. He got 8.5, but it doesn't matter. He didn't think any targets, right? Kenyon Drake, on the other hand, he had 7 rushes for 62 yards, but also added four receptions for 5 yards and a touchdown. Justice Hill had 4 rushes for 28 yards. You see what I'm talking about? All right. Last week, it looked like he only got 36% of the snaps because maybe they were easing him in, right? Well, they gave him less. Okay, they gave him less. So that's why I was saying maybe the Andrews thing was against Cleveland was game script. You feeling me? Because they kind of ran him more. The at least the stats show that. But Edwards did leave in the 4th with a hamstring injury that's being described as doesn't seem too bad. Okay, I did some research. I always do that. I'm pedantic like that. And a minor hamstring injuries take between 3 to 8 weeks to heal. Okay, so if you have an IR, just put him right back in the IR. Okay, if don't, then he's probably droppable. I am concerned about him getting, like last week he got no target, or this past Thursday he got 0 targets. The week before he got 1 target that he didn't catch. So I am a little concerned about that. And come on, man, Kenyon Drake does look good with the way how they're using him, right? Again, I already mentioned Rashad Bateman. Lamar Jackson ended up with a good game with 238 passing yards, 2 passing TDs, and 43 rushing yards. Another thing taking away from Gus Edwards. See, so that's 4-person committee, right? That's rough, dude. That's rough. So that's why it's almost let's see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens. He's more likely going to be out. So you can just pop him into your IR, but also whenever he is, he'll be sitting there. Maybe you don't ever want to say this, and Lord forgive me for saying this, but maybe an injury will happen to Kenyon Drake or Justice Hill, or or they shut down Dobbins for the season. Who knows? Something could change, and he becomes the man. We'll see what happens. But point is. Yeah, he got a little nicked. Tom Brady looked a little better, so hopefully he's coming back to form. I mean, I know that he wasn't like vintage Brady, but at least he was competent, right? I mean, he wasn't Carolina, going against Carolina's defense and can only score 3 points, Brady. So that's what I'm saying. He's looking better because he got admit he looks better now than that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because I who knows why. But he is human, so maybe the divorce has something to do with it. I don't know. Chris Godwin had a good game, and Evans, he looked serviceable. He looked good. So they, I would start them with confidence. All right, I really would. When you get down to it and you're a little nervous, I would still go ahead and do it. It looks like maybe let's just say if it was all the personal matters and now that's over, so he can Brady can more focus on at least one thing. He's not being torn between 2 things, right? So maybe that is over, and he can focus on football. Cade Otton, 5 targets, 2 catches, 15 yards. I believe he got a touchdown thing. Let's talk about Fournette. Right? He had 9 rushes for 24 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 receptions for 34 yards. Okay, yeah, it's great that he got a touchdown. And those three receptions for 34 yards really helped, especially in a PPR. But 9 rushes for 24 yards. Okay, that's showing a dip in production as far as like opportunity to rushes, and it also gaining. I mean, the Tampa Bay O line is having just trouble with the run, and to that point, Rashad White. You're like, well, maybe Rashad White. What did he do? 4 rushes, 19 yards, 3 receptions for 24 yards. This is another situation between like Likely and Andrews. If you're a Fournette manager, you should have Rashad White just in case something happens. Now, right now, both of them are kind of eating into each other, like Herbert and Montgomery. But if one goes down, then you got something really, really good there. But Fournette's giving you RB2 numbers. That's one thing I wanted to point out. Last thing I wanted to talk about for on Thursday night. Last statement is on Fournette. He's giving you like RB2 numbers, but not really the RB1 numbers you're hoping for when you drafted him. So just refocus. It's week 7. We had 7 weeks. This is week 8. We pretty much know what's going on. I've mentioned before that, and everybody knows this, it takes 30 days to start or end a habit, right? So you can kind of get a good idea on who's good against this, who's bad against that, who's good at doing this, who's bad at doing that. And so just start trusting that instead of whatever it was pre-draft. Seriously. Let go of that anchor. Okay, that anchor, reasoning that you had at the beginning of the season or the beginning of draft. What I mean by that is you made a decision on something. This is what it is, and you're going to stick to it. No, it's time to let go, reassess, and get a new anchor. All right, it's okay. You can do it. Might be a little painful. Got to create a new narrow path in the mind, but it'll be worth it. Okay, so let's talk about the KADARIUS Toney trade. All right, I want to go and talk about that because I'm a little bit concerned. Let's just say concerned. All right, and what I mean by that is the excitement. There should be excitement. There should be excitement around it. All right, but I would say curb the enthusiasm. Right? Okay, so I can understand it. He's going to going to KC. Okay, and he was considered like a human joystick last year. Okay, we know which was his rookie year. He looked incredible. He made Daniel Jones last year. Daniel Jones looked good, right? I mean, looked streamable, I should say. But the problem with Toney is his health, right? And there was a report that just came out. Okay, that the Giants organization was arguing with Toney about his hamstrings, where Toney was saying that he was fine and good to go, but the Giants wanted to hold him out until after their bye week in week 9. Okay, not saying that was the reason why that's why the trade happened, but that discussion was going on. Okay, so there's two schools of thought here. One, sure, face value was correct. They saw him as somebody that they wanted to use and they needed because they have wide receiver problems. So they just wanted to make sure that he was going to be good to go for the rest of the year, considering that next week is week 8, and then you get to week 9, and then, man, week 10, you'll be good to go, right? But the other thing could be that they were just holding him out to trade him. If that happens, right? I mean, that's very normal. That might happen to Brandon Cooks tomorrow. Or today, depending on when you're listening to it. I should probably stay today since it's about midnight right now. So today, okay, yeah. So that's what they're talking about, right? So it's up to you. Okay, I would just say that right now you got to understand that he's a rookie. Okay, and although he is exciting. Okay, and he has a lot of speed. Same could be said with Sky Moore. Okay, that's who it seems like is going to hurt the most, to be honest with you. But the point is, he doesn't have the pedigree like a Devontae Adams or a Stephon Diggs to go onto a team immediately and then start demanding all the targets, especially when Mahomes has already shown that he's spreading it around to his wide receivers, right? And so he even mentioned that there's not going to be a wide receiver 1, so why would he change the way he's doing business when it's doing well, because they get this new weapon in. You feeling me? Okay. He didn't, what the irony of that is that he was trying to avoid a bye week, with the week 9 thing, kind of an extended bye week situation, and he landed on a bye week. So whatever, it gives him time to get ready. But, yeah, it does give, one thing it does do also is that I made the comment about Sky Moore, right? Yes, it does. I think that's what seems to be the scuttlebutt where he would be playing, would be where Sky Moore would be playing. So of course, he has fumble problems, and so 1 and 1 equals 2. So, but you got to keep in mind that Juju Smith-Schuster, McCall Hardman, those guys, I think MVS, that they get a downgrade with this simply because now there's another target, another mouth to feed, because you really weren't feeding Sky Moore, right? Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. So I would wait and see before we get too excited, because we just don't know how he's going to be used. All right, see how his health goes out and stuff, like hangs out and stuff. I mean, he's somebody you can absolutely put on your grab and put on your bench if he's in your pool, but you would do it. It's to me, I just don't know if it's going to be like a league winner. I mean, it's exciting, but it's going to be difficult to judge. It's going to be just like the same thing with all the other wide receivers in KC. Is it going to be Hardman? Is it going to be MVS? Is it going to be Juju? You don't know. Now you got, is it going to be Tony, right? And he's he's relatively new, learning a new system. So, okay, so you can see where I think everybody can see where I'm coming from on that, right? So all the ones that all the podcasts that I listen to, and everything that I've read, okay, online about this, people were just saying like this is going to unleash Tony, and it's amazing. It's a great spot where he's at, but I don't see like the immediate impact, if any. That this is, I'm just other side of the coin, I should say, right? Okay, all right, so that was what I got to say about, that's all I got to say about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's move on to some Merry Early Christmas. All right, so I that's what happens whenever you hit the wrong button. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, so I've said this before. I've always found that it's easier to hear bad news in a nice way, so I'm going to say Merry Christmas, and then I'll explain why. All right, so I don't have my normal guys with me. I promise I do have hosts. All right, Connor does show up from time to time, and Barack does show up, but I'm always here for you. Okay, but actually, that's not true. A couple weeks ago, Connor did a great job on the Shooter Ceasefire. But let's get started. Merry Early Christmas. Merry Early Christmas, Brandon Ayuk managers. Oh, yeah. After not practicing all week due to a hamstring injury, San Francisco wide receiver Deebo Samuels was ruled out for Sunday's game, opening up more opportunities for Ayuk. Yes, I know that Christian McCaffrey will get targets, but I don't think that the absence of Deebo would affect that. All right. San Francisco is going to use CMC versus the Rams, if anything, to brag about that the fact that they won the sweepstakes. The way that the Rams are, the best way to attack their defense is through the air, and no Deebo Samuels means that's going to be a nice gift for Brandon Ayuk. So Ayuk will be, gets the gift. Next one. All right. Merry Early Christmas. Joe Mixon managers. It's a little different. It's a little different angle on this situation. By now, you've already heard Cincinnati Bengals, Bengals, Bengals star wide receiver Jamar Chase has been diagnosed with a hairline hip fracture and a torn labrum, but won't go on IR. And there's actually more and more increased optimism that he's only going to be out 3 weeks, which is fantastic. If you have Chase, just hold. All right, just try to find a way to hold it. Try to find a way to keep it afloat. Jamar Chase is not out for the season. Jamar Chase will come back and help your season. So just stay strong. All right. Now, you think, okay, now the gift that I'm talking about is only for today. All right. For this Sunday. Okay. So you think I would give the gift to T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd, right? They got to throw to somebody and they've been unleashing it left and right? No. But their next game is against Cleveland, who can't stop the run. So the gift goes to Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon is going to have a great week, so he's the one that gets the immediate gift for this unfortunate injury. And you saw exactly what happened whenever Gus Edwards came back with Baltimore. He did very well against Cleveland, so there we go. Last one. Merry Early Christmas. Noah Fant managers, but this actually, I got some good news about this one, but I'm still going to do it because I want to talk about it. Right? So let me just go ahead and tell you my spiel and then give you the phenomenal, incredible news that happened, right? So, Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf hasn't practiced all week due to his knee injury. Right, he suffered last Sunday. And Marquise Brown, or not Marquise Brown, Marquise Goodwin. Apologies, Marquise Goodwin had 2 touchdowns in his place. Right, so the reason why that, let's just stop right there. Okay, let's just talk about that as if that was the case, because it might be, it still might be, right? But let me just go ahead and, you know what, let me go into, yeah, news came out tonight, okay, or today I should say, or late last night, today, early today, okay, when I'm filming this. All right, news came out that DK Metcalf is going to play Sunday. All right, where they said he was going to miss multiple weeks and stuff, he's going to play. That's what they're saying. But this is why I want to continue with a Merry Early Christmas, because he might not play the whole complement of snaps. He might start playing a little bit, might have to sit down. So this still might be true. Okay. All right. So again, the gift does not go to Marquise Goodwin. It goes to Noah Fant. Why? Because Geno Smith has targeted tight ends on 26.7% of his passes, the 5th highest rate in the NFL. So with Metcalf's targets needing to go somewhere, it seems that it will go to the tight end. Why did I choose Fant over Disley? Do I think that he's more talented? No. It's really the simple fact that he was Fant was part of the Russell Wilson deal, and Disley and Noah Fant are kind of, they're kind of going neck and neck. There's not really one has that, in my opinion, that has more fantasy value than the next. So I mean, Will Disley does have more touchdowns, so whatever. But I'm just saying, in this situation, it looks like that they're going to want to try to get him going, get him, get because he's a talented guy, that he'll be the one that they focus on, and so that's why I'm choosing Noah Fant. But you could put Will Disley, but I'm going Noah Fant. All right, because I just think that they're going to want to try to get him going. All right, so you see, that was Merry Early Christmas, but that was some news right there that was kind of mixed in with it. So, with no further ado, let's move on to the news.
No news is good news. No news is good news. You ain't got any blues if you ain't got any news.
Ha! Yeah. All right. So we'll start off with some good news here for this one too. All right. Here's some good news too. All right. So Davante Adams, right, the Vegas star wide receiver, had been out with what was being described as a bad flu, and he was considered questionable. But again, late last night, there was a notice that came out saying that he is good to go, so he'll be playing. All right, so that's fantastic, great news for Davante Adams managers, and David Carr. That's the name I was trying to think of. Staying with Vegas, though, Darren Waller. Darren Waller has been practicing in a limited capacity and is considered questionable for Sunday. Now, there's optimism that he will suit up against the Saints, but we'll see what happens. I'll whatever, dude. This is not a spoiler alert. I mean, this is something that I think you would know already. He's not. You don't start somebody their first game back, all right, from an injury, like especially a hamstring, right? So I would not start Darren Waller. Definitely not drop him. If you held him this long, might as well hold on to him and see what happens, right? But like a good case in point is Keenan Allen, right? Keenan Allen, he came back from his hamstring injury, right? He only played first half, right, because they said that he was had trouble. Allen was saying he had trouble getting burst, right? And so they didn't want to re-aggravate the injury, but they did not re-aggravate the injury. That's just the state at where it's at while at where it's being healed, right? So they gave him a half a game off plus the whole bye week. All right, so he technically has had his first game. They're going to need him because the Mike Williams injury, which you know about fully now, of course, and so he's going to go into wide receiver 1 on the team for Herbert. Not sure if he's going to do wide receiver 1 numbers, which he absolutely could. He has before, but not this year, nowhere close this year. So it's difficult to say yes, he'll do it because it hasn't happened this year yet. Point is that if you're able to get Keenan Allen, I would go ahead and trade for him right now because you can trade real low for him. All right, trade something. I just traded for him in my league. I traded Christian Kirk for him, and I know Christian Kirk has been he's had some numbers, but he's kind of up and down. All right, but he's doing for the Keenan Allen manager that they would love to have those numbers or that opportunity with where they're at, and especially with where they drafted Keenan Allen. With the way that that a person that has Christian Kirk, you got him like I got him like in the 12th round, so you already have your guys set. So he's sitting on the bench, and that's how mine are right now. And so I was able to get like a 12th round guy for a possible 3rd round talent. We'll see what happens, but I think there's more upside for Keenan Allen. His schedule for the rest of the season looks fantastic. So I would go ahead and recommend that if you can, or go ahead and send a trade request to the Keenan Allen manager for something low, like I was mentioning, maybe even Cortland Sutton, right? But I have Cortland Sutton, but I chose Kirk because, well, I figured that those two guys are about the same, and so I had 2 of the same. So I did Kirk because he's producing more right now, and seemed like it was more of a chance to unhinge Allen, which it actually did. So make sure and go do that. All right, Washington Commander tight end Logan Thomas has practiced in a limited fashion all week, and again late last night, there was a notice that came out and said that he will be playing. Don't start him, right? Just like I just said, I just went over that. Miami Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle practiced in full on Friday and has been removed from the injury list. That is fantastic news. He's good to go for versus the Detroit Lions. It's great news for Waddle. It's great news for Tua and their managers. Okay, so yeah, if you have Waddle, it looks very favorable. Okay, let's just say that. Nothing in football is certain. There's always the Lord's will that plays around in there. So, yeah, the funky little game football is, and so, but it looks like on paper that should work out. Look like, resemble. Sorry. The Green Bay Packers have ruled out wide receiver Allen Lazard, leaving Romeo Doubs and Sammy Watkins as the top wide receivers there versus Buffalo. Okay, so we all know it'll be, but if they are going to pass, we all know it's going to be Aaron Jones and a little bit of Robert Tonyan in the circle of trust for Aaron Rodgers. Okay, all right, that does it. That does it for the news. Okay, so point is that even though I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. Romeo Doubs, Sammy Watkins, even though they're going to have an increase of snap, it's against Buffalo. I wouldn't do it. We'll talk about that game here in a bit. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take that opportunity to move on and talk about the games. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll start with the Denver Broncos. What do you think about that? The Denver Broncos against Jacksonville. Let's do that first. All right, so here we go. Denver Broncos versus Jacksonville. The over-under is 39.5. Jacksonville's favored by 4 points. All right, so the weather, right? Because this one's in London. All right, this is in London where you're kind of worried. You're like, hey, is it always rain over there? Is it always foggy? Well, it's going to be 62 degrees, 24% chance of rain, 10 to 20 mile an hour wind. All right, so let's go ahead and see who we're going to shoot or cease fire on. Let's go ahead and start off with the quarterbacks. You on both of them. Okay, ceasefire. Just real quick, because I want to get this done as quick as possible, and I don't think we need to spend much time on these things. Russell Wilson's coming back from an injury. I just mentioned it just a few minutes ago. First game back from an injury, especially hamstrings. Dude's doing knee highs on the plane. Weird dude. Okay, I'd ceasefire on him. Ceasefire on Trevor Lawrence. Melvin Gordon, okay, Latavius Murray, I would cease fire on those guys. I mean, come on, man. I mean, you see what's going on. Travis Etienne, though. Let's talk about Travis Etienne, All right. I think that like last week he got RB1 usage. All right, played 80% of the snaps with 15 touches. They turned into 119 total yards. Now, of course, Denver run defense ranks 21st in rushing yards per game, 17th in EPA per rush, and 14th in explosive run rate allowed. So, okay, I think that it's going to be a good game for the ETN because, of course, as you know, the Denver defense has Patrick Surtain, who really does shut down people. All right, so Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, all those guys I would be nervous about, mainly because, again, if you know what, the one I would be most confident with between the two would be Jerry Jeudy. And let me explain why. Okay, because the thing I'm concerned with Cortland Sutton is that whenever Russell Wilson is there, he loves Cortland Sutton. But when Russell Wilson isn't there, then was it Brett Ripon? He does not love Cortland Sutton. Who does he love? He loves Jerry Jeudy. You know who also loves Jerry Jeudy? Russell Wilson. See? So I think Jerry Judy's the one that if you would have to shoot on any of the Denver wide receivers, that would be it. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones. Nervous about those guys because I just mentioned Patrick Surtain. Whoever that guy is going to be on is going to be a problem. But if you do need to play them because you're in a situation, low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 numbers. So he'll start. He'll get like in a full PPR, he'll get you double digits, but barely. Greg Dulcich, okay, yeah, that's a guy that everybody's excited. In the state of tight ends, he's somebody that you would want to start. Let's say start over like let's say Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, that'd be an easy one for him to start over. Wouldn't start him over Freiermuth though. Wouldn't do that, or but I would start him over Schultz. So maybe that gives you an idea. Evan Ingram, I would just move on because of that Denver defense, and both defenses are ones that are usable, by the way. So, all right, so let's move on to Carolina. Okay, Carolina at Atlanta. Okay, cool thing about this is that it's in a dome. Okay, and because it's in a dome, then you know that don't have to worry about the weather. It's over under 42, and Atlanta is favored by 6 points. Let's go ahead and talk. And this one will be really, really easy. I mean, it really is going to be pretty simple. PJ Walker, no. Mariota, no. So don't shoot on any of the quarterbacks. Let's talk about running backs. Deontay Foreman, of course, dude. They're going against Atlanta, and Chuba Hubbard's been ruled out. Okay, do I need to? I mean, you know how Atlanta is against the run, so there's not really much discussion that needs to be there. Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley, those guys, man. You know, if you're happy with the numbers, go ahead. Okay, but boomer bust, right? RB3, RB4. I mean, yeah, I know that they like to use it a lot, but each one of them eat each other, and so it's just difficult, very difficult. DJ Moore, yeah, let's go ahead. DJ Moore is like a wide receiver too, but you can absolutely shoot on him. Drake London, that guy's just tough. He's got ridiculous talent, but the head coach is just obsessed with running. They were down like how many scores last week, and then they decided to keep running, and that's also killing Kyle Pitts. And so Kyle Pitts is somebody like if you're like if you have him on your bench, you're in a bye week pinch, then I would go ahead and play Kyle Pitts. But that's the only way that I would go ahead and play them. As far as the defenses, come on, man, really, come on. I wouldn't shoot on any of the defenses. All right, so. Chicago Bears at Dallas Cowboys. Again, another dome. Don't need to worry about it. It's like said it once, said it before. I'll say it again. Looks like a toilet dome, but whatever. Over under 42.5. Dallas is favored by 10. I think that's a good number. I think that's a really good number. Yeah, I think they might have got it right that time. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Justin Fields, no. Dallas defense, yes. Okay. Chicago defense, no. Okay, let's just get those out of the way. But Justin Fields, yeah, dude, you're going against Dallas. I wouldn't do it. Not even. I mean, I don't need to run down the numbers. It's obvious, right? Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott. All right, I would go ahead and shoot on him. I think Dak's going to have a good game, especially with now that Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, I didn't mention. Well, I'll mention now. Ezekiel Elliott has been ruled out, so Tony Pollard is definitely a shoot on, like shoot all over Tony Pollard, right? Montgomery and Herbert. I would cease fire on both. Um, the problem is that they both kind of eat into each other, and they're playing a fantastic defense. That the eating into each other is fine when they're playing against kind of a weaker run defense. How about this? How about this? Expect just a little bit little than what you got from each last game. Okay, against the Patriots. I know that they didn't really put up that much, but they really didn't put up that little. You see what I'm saying? I mean, they gave up, they gave it up, but they weren't like the Houston Texans for the Lions in run defense, or Chicago in this case, right? So which leads me to Tony Pollard. I mean, dude, just completely awesome. So I would say that on David Montgomery, Herbert, go ahead and you can shoot on them if you like, but I would just expect a little bit lower than what you got. Okay, if you're happy with what you got last week, then just pray that that's what you get. Wide receivers, Darnell Mooney, no. Nothing, yeah. Tight end, Komet, no. CeeDee Lamb, yes. Yeah, yeah. I think you can shoot on CeeDee Lamb. Gallup, Noah Brown, no. I would not do that. Gallup gave you in fact, let's have a conversation about Michael Gallup. I know everybody's excited about Michael Gallup, and they think, that he did really well and blah, 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 but whatever. His first game back, he did good, right? Second game with Dak gave you a 0. So that, everybody, is his floor. If you're happy with having a guy on your team whose floor is possibly 0, okay? Like, remember Tyler Conklin at the beginning of the season, everybody was all excited, including myself. And then he gave you a big old 0. That's his floor. Yeah. If you're cool with that, then go for it. I'm not. There's other guys you can grab that will do better. That their floor will give you, like, even half a point is better than that guy's floor. All right. So, Dalton Schultz, yes. Let's go ahead and shoot on Dalton Schultz. The state of the tight ends is as such that it is very difficult to. It's very difficult to, like, you see somebody that like Schultz that should be good to go. Seems to be good to go. That, yeah, you especially in a bye week pinch. Yeah, I think that you'll be fine there. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to Miami at Detroit. Now, this one's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun game. Okay, and what I mean by that is that it's going to be high scoring for one. Or actually for both. Yeah, because the defenses on both of them are questionable. So let's talk about the quarterbacks. Tua Tagovailoa. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He should be a fantastic QB1 this week. Jared Goff. I think he's going to bounce back. All right. I think you're going to see it you'll see like at least low QB. How about this? He'll be QB1. Give you QB1 numbers if Amon-Ra St. Brown is okay. All right, so it still hasn't been mentioned if he's good to go or not. All right, running backs, Raheem Mostert. Do I really need to tell you? Yes, go and play him. DeAndre Swift, come on, yeah. Jamal Williams, the tough one, right? He's the tough one. Now I would say that with his opportunities and the way that he's performed, like last week, whatever, that he'd be like a touchdown dependent RB3, right? So if he gets a touchdown, you're going to love it. If he doesn't, you're not going to be too happy. Wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, yes. Jalen Waddle, yes. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he plays, yes. Josh Reynolds, Yeah. Okay. No, if no St. Brown, yes. But if not, no. Okay, yeah. I would ceasefire. Caleb Raymond. Come on, man. Tight ends. Mike Gesicki and TJ Hawkinson are in play. I would shoot on both of them. They definitely have opportunities here. Gesicki's usage has increased, so that's very good. TJ Hawkinson was limited during the week, but he seems to be good to go. And of course, any tight end that can explode like one that did, like he did a few weeks ago. I know that it was against a weaker opponent, but still they got that in them. All right, just like Taysom Hill, Voldemort. You're always gonna go in and shoot on him, right? Why? Because he might be that guy that might explode. So yeah, yeah. So I think you can go and work with those guys, and of course the defenses don't even look that direction. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's move on to See, that one was real easy to talk about. Arizona Cardinals versus Minnesota Vikings has an over-under of 49. Minnesota is favored by 3.5 points. So let's get to the quarterbacks. Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins. Those are easy ones to say go ahead and shoot on. With D-Hop back for Murray, it seems like his arrow is kind of like going back up again because he had kind of a miserable game. All right, but it was saved a few times by D-Hop, and I think you're going to see more of that as long as D-Hop's body can last. He's a little older, and I said it last time, or I've said it in previous shows, I'll say it again, that he's not on the PEDs, man, so let's just see how everything works out for him. Right now he's fresh, so of course it looks great, but I don't know how long he'll sustain that. Kirk Cousins, man, Arizona is not really that special of a defense, so I think he's somebody that would push for like low QB1 numbers. So that means that's definitely you can shoot on him. Here's the difficult part. Let's talk about running backs. I mean, we don't have to talk about Minnesota. Dalvin Cook, yes. Madison, no. Okay, there you go. End of story. James Conner has been ruled out. Okay, so Darrell Williams and Eno Benjamin. Okay, let's talk about those guys. So Darrell Williams has been named a game time decision, where Eno Benjamin, of course, does pretty well. He does pretty well. I mean, like it's hard to say that he does incredible because last week he did incredible. The week before that, same opportunity, not so much, especially against a weaker opponent. So who knows? Maybe he was getting used to it. I don't know. But let's talk about that. If Darrell Williams doesn't play, then of course you would go ahead and shoot on Eno Benjamin. If Darrell Williams does play, shoot on Eno Benjamin, right? Remember what I just said? Like any type of player that has had a long injury, you don't really want to go and shoot on because you just don't know what's going to happen, right? Well, I would go ahead and say the reverse is true for Eno Benjamin. I wouldn't be too worried about Williams, especially if you're in a situation where you have to use Eno Benjamin. So I think you can use him in that respects. High end running back 2, low end running back 1, right? Yeah, let's just go and do that. D-Hop, yeah, you would go ahead and shoot on him. Yeah, no problem. Rondale Moore. Let's talk about that. I think he's got upside. Especially against this defense, right? And so he's going to be going back into the slot where he belongs with D-Hop back. And he does really well. He's getting acclimated back to the game. I think he's somebody that's flex-worthy, at least flex-worthy. Even has like wide receiver 2 upside such things, okay? But it might be more. We'll see what happens because I think it's pretty obvious who you would cover against Arizona, right? Who you'd put your best guys, plural, on that, double coverage, D-Hop, right? Robbie Anderson, not just yet. Just wait for Robbie to prove himself first. Not saying he's droppable, just saying just don't shoot on him just yet. Justin Jefferson, yes. Elite wide receiver 1. Make sure and have him in your lineup. Adam Thielen's going to do what Adam Thielen does. And so if you're happy with what he does, then go ahead and do what you do. All right. In other words, if you're happy, yeah. So if you're happy with it, then shoot on him. If you're not, then ceasefire. But he is fantastic to have on your bench. You should, yeah. That guy should not be in your pool. If he's in your pool, go pick him up. He was in my league. Let's say that somebody did drop him in my league. So don't be that guy. Tight ends. Zach Ertz. He didn't have a very good game last week, and like you might say, okay, well, how about the situation with with D-Hop back. I think Zach Ertz is still playable. And especially since the state of the tight end is pretty bad, so he remains a tight end one just in that situation, just for the red zone looks alone. How about the Irv Smith Jr.? Yeah, Irv Smith Jr. shoot all over that man, right? Yeah, I mean Arizona's defense is really bad against tight ends. To always start a tight end against Arizona's defense. So yeah, absolutely. It's a good spot for Irv Smith Jr. That's why it doesn't make sense that you would cease fire on Kirk Cousins, but you would shoot on Jefferson and you would shoot on Irv Smith. I got to keep the story straight, right? So there we go. The defenses, if I could help it, I wouldn't want to shoot on any of the defenses. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move on to Las Vegas and New Orleans. Okay, all right, the New Orleans Saints. So the over-under is 48. And the Raiders are favored by 2 points. So let's talk about the quarterbacks. Derek Carr, I told you already, So yeah, with Devontae Adams back, that's fantastic for him. So I think he's going to do great. So yes, go ahead and shoot on him. Andy Dalton, man, how about that guy? I would go ahead and shoot on him. Look what he did last week. He really did fantastic. I know he threw a couple of pick sixes, but as far as fantasy goes, he scored really high in my league. I'm sure he did on yours too. So I would go ahead and I would shoot on him. Running backs, of course, both of them. Josh Jacobs, yes. Alvin Kamara, yes. Don't need to go too much in detail on that. Devontae Adams, yes. Hunter Renfrow, come on, man. He hasn't done anything to make it look like you're going to, right? Matt Hollins, same thing. Chris Olave, though, for the Saints. Yeah. How about that? My wife has Jamar Chase, and she was pretty bummed until she remembered that she has Chris Olave. I think Olave is absolutely wonderful, very talented. I think he's going to do very well this week, and he's somebody that would be really good to help float your team along while Jamar Chase comes back from his injury. Tre'Quan Smith, come on, no. Callaway, don't even need to talk about. Thomas is out. Landry's out. Tight ends. Juwan Johnson's back is banged up right now. I mean, he's logged limited practice on Thursday and Friday, which could put him in line to play. But, if you have to stream him, fine. But that's scary. Darren Waller, Tari talked about the first game back of an injury. And Foster Moreau, no. He hasn't done anything to really make it to where you'd be excited to go ahead and stream that dude. All right, let's go ahead and let's move on. Let's move on to the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Okay, so this has a 41 over and under, and New England is actually favored by 1.5 points. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about the quarterbacks. Keep going. No, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson. Come on, man. Just keep going. Talk about the running backs. Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre. Was last week a changing of the guards, or was it just easing Damian Williams back? Don't know. Do you? I would say if you can prevent it, if you have the depth, I would go ahead and cease fire on both until we see exactly what's going on, especially since that New York Jets defense is nothing. It's a lot better than it used to be. They're not pushovers anymore, right? Again, remember how I told you about the anchor thinking? Yeah. Get that new neuropath right there for the New York Jets. Yeah, and I would go ahead and cease fire on them if I can. Let's just see what happens, because you would feel terrible if you sat like Dameon Pierce, okay, over Stevenson, and it turns out to be like a share again, or worse, with Damian Harris taking over the top again, like he did, previous. Let's just see what happens. It's just too much. If you have the ability to do it, I would do it. If you had to choose between the two, of course, you would go Stevenson. He's a pass catching guy. He looked great. Running backs for the Jets, Michael Carter, you can shoot on him, but I would look for a low end running back too. Okay, there's a reason. I said this before whenever I was talking about the James Robinson trade on the Tuesday show, right? Is that the first thing that the general manager did for the Jets whenever they found out that Breece Hall was out? Of course, he probably wept a little. We all did. I think everybody wept a little. I mean, if you're a fan of football, you wept a little. If you're a manager of Hall or not, or a New York Jets fan or not, yeah. Same thing with Javonte Williams, right? Something great. When you see a great talent like that go down, it's never good. But after he did that, went out and traded. He went out and traded and got James Robinson. Here's something that's very interesting. Also, I want to tie this in real quick. Is that a report came out earlier yesterday that Kareem Hunt, that Cleveland Browns are looking for a 4th-round pick for Kareem Hunt. That means that whenever I was talking about the James Robinson trade, I mentioned that maybe that it seems that the first call was to Cleveland because because there was rumors, or there was a report that Cleveland was listening to offers for Kareem Hunt on the same day that the trade for James Robinson happened, right? So it seems that the GM, Joe Douglas, I believe that's the name. He went and he called Cleveland, so okay, for a 4th. Called Jacksonville and said, you know what? I could get James Robinson for a 6th that might turn to a 5th, or I can get Kareem Hunt for a 4th. Which one do I do? He went James Robinson. Okay, he went James Robinson. Okay, so that tells me that they don't have that much faith with Michael Carter. Whenever Breece Hall went out, he went out early in the game. Carter didn't really blow up the league now, did he? Okay, so now he's going against a tough defense. I still think New England's a tough defense, right? So you can shoot on him, but I would just temper the expectations. Wide receivers, Jacoby Myers, yes. Go ahead and shoot on Jacoby Myers, right? He shows that he's the guy, the preferred target right now. Go ahead and do that. So basically, this is what you're going to do with New England. You're going to choose either Jacoby Myers or Devontae Parker. I would go Myers, but if you're a Parker man, then go Parker. All right, they're going to be tough. It's going to be a tough road to hoe either which way. Tyquan Thornton, I wouldn't even look that direction, especially in this matchup. Garrett Wilson's, Elijah Moore. Corey Davis is out, but still, those guys make me very nervous with Zach Wilson at the helms. The tight end, Conklin, nope. You're out of the circle of trust, big boy. Yeah, big time. You're out. Hunter Henry, against this defense, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, so I would cease fire on Hunter Henry. Yeah, if all possible, move on to something else. All right, dang it. I'm really trying to go through this, guys. Yeah, I really am. Yeah, bear with me. Okay, in fact, I'm gonna go as fast as I possibly can because I know it's like at 51 minutes now, and I really kind of want to get this done. All right, so Pittsburgh Steelers. I know you have a lot to do. It's Sunday. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. They just don't screw around with stuff that doesn't matter. Jalen Hurts, yes. Okay, shoot on him. Come on, look at Pittsburgh's defense. Najee Harris, ceasefire. Can't trust him, especially against this defense. Of course, Warren, no. Miles Sanders, yes. You would go and shoot on him against that defense for Pittsburgh. They are getting better, but they're not there yet. Deontay Johnson, cease fire. No. George Pickens, yeah. You can go ahead and you can shoot on him, but I would just go ahead again. I would expect lower numbers, like maybe wide receiver 2, low wide receiver 2, high wide receiver 3, just because of the defense and those cornerbacks. Those are guys, no jokes, but Pickens is the one that's most talented that could go ahead and catch whenever he's being covered like he is. Chase Claypool, no. AJ Brown, yes. I just talked about the defense. Devontae Smith, yes. I just talked about the defense for Pittsburgh. Pat Freiermuth, how about we talk about that guy? Yes, he is the Steelers' best hope to move the ball, okay, this week. Philly has been rough on opposing tight ends. They're 11th in DVOA, holding them to the 7th lowest catch rate and 10th lowest yards per reception. But Freiermuth is a favorite target. And I already told you the state of the tight ends. I would shoot on Freiermuth, no problem. Of course, Dallas Goedert. The Steelers defense. That's all I got to say on that, right? Okay, let's go ahead and let's move on to the Tennessee Titans versus Houston Texans. This one's going to be really easy. All the quarterbacks, no. I would cease fire. Derrick Henry, come on, man. Texans defense is one of their worst. And now they're going to have Malik Willis because Tannehill's going to be out, right? And so yeah, Derrick Henry I think is going to be fantastic. Dameon Pierce, even though it's a tough matchup, he is the defense for the for the Texans. So 20, you can't sit 20 touches a game. You just can't do that, right? So I would go and do that. The wide receivers, no. Nico Collins is out for the Texans, but Brandon Cooks, there's a lot of talk they might be sitting him. They might be sitting him because of a trade thing. Just makes me too nervous. And Robert Woods, I would no. Okay, and the tight ends, come on, man. There's no really tight end that's viable in that setup. All right, so let's move on to the next one, which will be Washington Commanders versus Indianapolis Colts. Okay, 41.5 over under. Indianapolis is favored by 4. The quarterbacks, how about that? If you're feeling frothy, Sam Ellinger, okay, but not yet. Pick him up, but I wouldn't go. I would ceasefire on him. But I think keep an eye on him though, because he might be the thing that the Colts offense needs, because he can buy time for the wide receivers for the routes to develop, and that's what they were talking about. The reason why they made the change anyway. But let's talk about running backs. Brian Robinson, I would go and shoot on him. He's given me enough confidence to do that. Antonio Gibson, he just won't die, will he? He just won't die. How many times have we put out the fantasy headstone for this guy, and he just keeps, putting up points? So, dude, flex. He's a great flex. Antonio Gibson, yes. J.D. McKissick, no. He shouldn't even be on a roster. Jonathan Taylor, yes, you would shoot on him, because the general thinking is that the Colts are going to be more run heavy, but Washington is stronger against the run than they are against the passing. That's why I'm happy with him. Naeem Hines, no, but Jonathan Taylor is somebody that you don't ever cease fire on him. Wide receivers, Terry McLaurin. Okay, yeah, I think he can be, but it's a little more like wide receiver 3. Curtis Samuel, same spot. Dotson is already ruled out. Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, dude, if you're backed into a corner like I am, then go ahead and shoot on Michael Pittman Jr. If you have a choice between Cortland Sutton or Michael Pittman Jr., I went with Michael Pittman Jr., and let me tell you why, okay? I was going to tell you this. It might be a mistake. I don't know, but this is my logic on this, and you tell me, or you make your own decision, if you think this is logical, if you have the same situation like I do. I've heard a lot of people do. So you have Michael Pittman in one hand, okay, with an unknown rookie quarterback. You have Sutton in the other hand with an unknown health of Russell Wilson, with a caveat that whenever Russell Wilson is out and the new quarterback don't look Sutton's way, he got 3 points last week. You don't want to risk that. Okay, whenever you could over here with Pittman, you could have something that should do better than 3 points, which that what could happen if Mr. Limited is limited. All right, so the Ehlinger, though, you don't know what he's going to do. He passed really well in preseason, looked great. Washington is very weak against the run, or against the pass. Over here, Jacksonville, against Denver, I should say, is a stronger defense against the pass. And so I would go ahead, and it's just more or less, but not even like the defense with Jacksonville. It really is the Russell Wilson thing I'm concerned about, right? There was a game whenever Russell Wilson played and he ignored Sutton. Makes me nervous. Pittman's a shoot. Paris Campbell sees fire. Alec Pierce sees fire. Logan Thomas, we already talked about, sees fire. Mo Ali Cox, come on, man, really? No, cease fire on that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move on to San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams. We already kind of hit on them a little bit. On both these quarterbacks, I would cease fire on both of them. Jimmy Garoppolo shows that whenever he goes against a tough defense, that he's not able to provide that. How about this? QB2 numbers. If you're happy with QB2, then go for it. Okay, I'm not. So yeah, there's a world where you can shoot on them, right? And they're going to be using Christian McCaffrey, but I already talked. I talked myself into it. So yes, shoot on Jimmy Garoppolo, because the way that you attack the Rams is through the air. All right, there we go. I just 1 and 1 has to equal 2. I just talked about Ayuk getting a gift, right? So yeah, shoot on Jimmy Garoppolo, cease fire on Matthew Stafford, Christian McCaffrey. Come on, man, you're going to shoot on him. Darrell Henderson, I would shoot on Darrell Henderson. He looks like he was actually he opened up the week Okay, missing practice, dealing with an illness, but he looks good to go. All right, I would say that he's at least, at the very least, a running back two. Okay, just by usage alone, they haven't done anything to improve that room. So Daryl Henderson looks like he's the dude. Debo Samuel, as I mentioned, is out. So Brandon Ayuk, yes, shoot on him. Cooper Kupp, yes. Allen Robinson sees fire. Come on, man. Van Jefferson is back, all right, but again, first back, you don't want to go and start. You don't want to start that. George Kittle, yes, go ahead and shoot on both the tight ends, George Kittle and Tyler Higbee. All right, but I would still warn you, watch out for Kittle. All right, with McCaffrey now getting better in, they're probably gonna be running more. He's gonna be blocking more. I'm just saying. All right, that it just seems that's what it seems like. All right, so let's move on. Moving on to let's see here. I'm sorry. New York Giants. Yeah. No, look, man, we're coming around the bend. I know we're at an hour. Thank you so much for hanging out. But dude, we're almost there. Okay, here we go. New York Giants versus Seattle Seahawks. 46.5 over under. Seattle is favored by 3. Okay, the quarterbacks. Daniel Jones and Geno Smith. After what Daniel Jones did, it'd be very difficult to go ahead and cease fire on him, especially if you're in a quarterback problem, like some of us are. So Daniel Jones, I would definitely shoot on him. Geno Smith, yes, I would go ahead and shoot on him. DK Metcalf is going to be back. Why wouldn't you shit on him? Let's talk about the running back. Saquon, yes. Kenneth Walker, yes. Until further notice. Wide receivers. The only one I would say on the Giants worth shooting on is Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, just because of his usage and his target share seems to be going up. On the Seattle side, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Marquise Goodwin. Let's talk about those guys. I'm nervous about Metcalf. Okay, I'm excited about him, but if you have the depth, I would cease fire because you just don't know how long he's gonna last, right? Tyler Lockett, he's the one that he's been giving you some bad numbers, but that's what Tyler Lockett does, right? I mean, like he'll give you some weeks for bad numbers, especially when he's a little banged up like he is, but then he has time to just blow up. Okay, I mean, so it's very, very difficult. He has been limited twice this week in practice due to hamstring and ribs, but if he's good to go, then yeah, just temper your expectations. Marquise Goodwin, I would not do it. The tight ends, I already talked to you about Noah Fant. If you need to take a shot, especially if you're in a bye week situation, then I would go ahead and do that. And there's not really a tight end for the Giants to talk about since Bellinger got the eye and the really nasty eye gouge. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move on to Green Bay Packers versus the Buffalo Bills. All right, so now I did get the weather on that one. Yeah, that one is going to be 49 degrees, 12% chance of rain, 6-mile-an-hour wind. Oh, I did want to mention on the Jets, the Giants and Seattle. It's going to be 54, 70% chance of steady light rain. Okay, 10 to 20-mile-an-hour winds. Okay, so keep all that in mind. That's another reason why you might want to be a little well, we'll see. It does light rain's really not going to cause a problem with the passing now. Think about it. It's more. It's actually I think we're all good. It's probably not going to be we'll see, but it's probably not going to be as bad as you think. We'll see what Lord says. But at Buffalo, I already talked to you about that. 12% chance of rain, 6-mile-an-hour wind. Okay, let's move on. This one's really, really simple. We're not going to spend much time on this one at all. On Green Bay, nobody except for Aaron Jones, but even Aaron Jones, temper your expectations. And then Devin Singletary, I would go ahead and shoot on him because Green Bay is real easy against the run. So he seems like he's going to do well there. The wide receivers, Lazard is out. I wouldn't touch Dobbs or Watkins. I already talked to you about that. Christian Watson is questionable, but come on. Stephon Diggs, yes. Gabe Davis, yes. Isaiah McKenzie, no. No. I already told you that Green Bay is easy against the run. So it seems like it's gonna be Devin Singletary. It's gonna be Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, and that's all she wrote. So don't even look towards the tight ends on this game. See, I told you it wasn't gonna take that long. Okay. All right. So the last one. This is Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. Okay, so let me go ahead and just write that down. Okay, here we go. This one, it's a 47.5 over under, and Cincinnati is favored by 3. 56 degrees forecast, 40% chance of rain, 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. Okay, so let's go and talk about the quarterbacks. All right. So, of course, you're going to shoot on Joe Burrow, right? I mean, of course, he's doing so well. I mean, really, you don't have another choice. Now, Jacoby Brissett, I would cease fire. I think there's other streamable situations, especially against Cincinnati. I just wouldn't do it. The running backs, Joe Mixon, I already told you about how they are at Cleveland. Nick Chubb, you're always shooting on Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt, I would cease fire on him. He's not doing well. Plus, they might preserve him to try to trade him. Okay, let's talk about the tight end, the wide receivers. Jamar Chase is out. You already know. T. Higgins, yes, you would shoot on Tyler Boyd. Of course, you're going to shoot on Amari Cooper. Maybe a flex, just temper your expectations. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, come on. And then we have, sorry, there's one more. I just saw that. Okay, no, there's not one more. That was, this is it. Yeah, the tight ends. Harrison Bryant, you can, I think you can shoot on him if you're in a bye week situation or like a Mark Andrews injury situation, right? Hopefully you didn't play it. Well, you probably played him early, so you can't play Mark Andrews now. But you know what I'm talking about. Hayden Hurst. Definitely, he's gotten to that circle of trust. He's somebody that I think that you can shoot on. So I would go ahead. I mean, the Browns are 12th in DVOA against tight ends and the lowest catch rate allowed. Okay, while also ranking first in yards per reception. Now think about that, and it's a run thing. I think. Well, hang on. Yeah, I would cease fire. And the reason why what I was thinking about is that I usually with Hayden Hurst, the deciding factor that I give is if the defense that they're going against puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. If there's a defense that because I was just about to say that Hayden Hurst is Joe Burrow's safety blanket. Well, Jamar Chase is out. You know what? Shoot on Hurst. Even though all those numbers I just gave you, Hurst is in a situation where he's in the circle of trust with Burrow, and so I think he's going to do well in that situation, so I think he'll be fine with that. Okay, all right, I think we did it. We made it through, everybody. Yeah, so that does it for the Shooter Cease Fire for week 8 and for the show. Want to make sure, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out. If you enjoyed the content, please, hit the like button, subscribe, click that bell so you get notices. Because remember, not only do we do these shows, we also do sniper episodes when news breaks, and then we also do shorts. Okay, just different analysis on different things. So you get a lot of value just by clicking that bell. Make sure to check out Connor's book, You Know Too Much, and also on High Volume Music Radio on that app. My show, Drive Time Sports with Charlie and Brian, that's every Thursday at 4 o'clock, 4 to 6, right? And it's a live interactive show. So I would encourage you to download the High Volume Music Radio app, okay, and tune in, okay, because it's Thursday 4 to 6, right before the Thursday show. If you have any type of fantasy questions, start sits or anything like that, give me a call. I give out the number on the show, and that way you can give me a call, ask me any type of fantasy questions you like, and I'll be more than happy to help you. All right, so on behalf of me, yeah, your humble host, Brian the Amigo Baldwin, want to thank you for watching, and I hope that this year is even better than the last, okay? And it's time for, of course, the parting shots. What would be my parting shot? I already kind of gave it to you already. Let go of the anchor thinking. Okay, I'll reiterate it. Let go of the anchor thinking. Don't be afraid to create a new neural path through your brain of thinking. All right, look at the stats, look what's going on, and make moves accordingly. Okay, and don't be afraid to do bold moves, but don't do stupid moves. Okay, don't confuse bold with stupid. All right, make sure you're looking past 1 week when you make a trade, especially if you're trading for something really big. Even though you have something really like cool, like it's going to do phenomenal, okay, right there, and you're in a weird spot. Okay, I would not trade something that's going to do great for a long run just to get that one thing for that 1 week. All right? Be smart, but be bold. There we go. That would be my the anchor thinking, and be smart, be bold. Okay, last line. Come on, everybody. Help me out with it. Remember, everyone, in fantasy football, as in life, don't dream it, be it. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you watching, and good luck on your games. All right. Thanks again. Bye-bye.